Hello, welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in this video, as we continue Kirsten, we're going to be looking at I'll say, collection of stories or one story. You can find it either in one piece or in like three. So this is Elin the Complete Journey. It's about a young woman who, similar to Kirsten, only she's an adult, travels from Sweden to Minnesota. So the one that I'm looking at is Elin the Complete Journey, a Swedish immigrant story by Esther Warren. So each of the sections, of which I think there are three, are 19 chapters long. Yeah. So I'm sorry, I'm looking at this on my phone, and it's been a little bit since it's got me back to the cover. Okay, so the first section is Change, Elaine's story, part one. It starts in Deutschland, Sweden in 1864. So in this part of the story, she starts off young. She's 12 going on 13. She lives on a farm with her parents. She's looking to go work as I think a cook or a maid at the big house. Her boyfriend, Jonas, who they've known since they were kids, he's trying to work on basically building money to go to America. So this is kind of about their early relationship and how they get together and their lives early on in Sweden. So, and then you jump to, how does this end? So, but yeah, they're kind of falling in love as they get older. So the next section is Shift, which is part two. This is again, we're still in Deutschland, Sweden. This is now 1869, so about like 4 years later. So she's now working in the big house, what's all that? Basically in a wealthy home. She's older. I don't remember how old. She's almost, I think, 18. I remember she's more like 16. But nonetheless, she's getting older. She's getting messages. Jonas has left. He's gone to Minnesota, so he writes her. And this is kind of about her, I believe she moved, yeah, she joins him, I believe, in this story. It's been a little bit since I actually read this one, kind of skimming through it. So, yeah, she's still, yeah, it's her. She's on the ship, so this dictates this time as she's going over to meet him. Yeah, and she joins him. She gets pregnant, I believe. This is when she has a baby in this one. So, in her first time here, and I believe it ends, in the spring. So she has a baby by the name of Grace. So, and then you move on to the next section, which is Home, which is, it's Minnesota in 1874. So, just a little bit of background history. They would have come, when did she start? Double check. Shift. So it's 1869. So it is, in fact, she doesn't come until after the American Civil War. So the third section, of course, is Home. I believe she ends up with another child. They've been living in Minnesota for a while. Obviously, it's a bit later. So she has more than one child at this point. And I believe Jonas dies, but I can't remember where. I don't know if I put in death and that'll actually find me anything. Let's see. No. let's see. Because I do believe Jonas dies. Trying to think. But yeah, I think he dies at some point in the last section, and she ends up starting a business. Sorry, I was looking at my phone. Basically, she starts selling some of her sewing in the general store. It's picked up by a wealthy woman in Chicago. Her husband's gone. She eventually takes her children and they move to Chicago and she starts a business. So that is the gist of the story. There is actually history at the end. Yeah, because it talks about the historical background, and then basically how she lived on a farm, and then talks about the life in Sweden at the time. People, of course, left because they were starving to death, which is why a lot of people leave. And there was no thing. Okay. Why they left, the Great Immigration, 1860s. It was basically, yeah, they were starving and there wasn't land, and the land in Sweden was rocky, so they really couldn't farm. Social freedom, typical. So, and there's banging going on at my door, which is my child. But nonetheless, this is a really interesting book. It's definitely meant for the older kids. It can be both bought and read in those 3 different sections, where again, you have the beginning where they're in Sweden and they're kind of falling in love. Then her growing up and moving on, and living life in there, and then moving, and then life after that, as they have she kind of has the American dream of when she loses her husband. But it is definitely, I mean, again, each section is 19 chapters, and the book itself, let me see, I'm gonna go down. The story itself is like, it's about, how is it, like 340 pages long. So it's definitely long. I don't know why there's banging. It's probably an annoying child. But nonetheless, please ignore that along with I do. So if you like what you see, be sure to like and subscribe. I will be continuing on Kirsten, and I will see you next time. Thank you.